Hey YouTube, Carrier Model 56 here. Bringing you guys another segment of Perfecting the X-Sabers. So in this episode / segment, I will be discussing the pros and cons about milling your own deck for victory in a duel, kinda, with the X-Sabers. So yeah, here we go. The two main cards that you'd probably use in an X-Saber deck for milling your own cards, according to the March ban list, would be Raikou and Card Trooper. Now Raikou is a flip effect, so if your opponent attacks it or you flip it face up yourself, it destroys one card on the field, or, well, you can destroy one card on the field if you want. And then you have to mill the top 3 cards from your deck to the grave. So yeah. Next up is Card Trooper. You summon it, mill up to 3, gains 500 attack for every card you mill. So its maximum attack gain would be 1500, so its maximum attack overall would be 1900 without equip spells or anything like that. And when it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. So yeah, these two are the basic cards or monsters that you use to mill your deck in an X-Saber deck. So yeah. Now there are pros and cons to milling your own deck, as we all know. So I'll just start off with the cons. Basically, the cons rely on luck. All of it relies on luck. If you mill any of these staples that might get you out of a tight situation, then you're kind of screwed unless you have some way to bring it back. So for traps, I guess you could use like Mask of Darkness or something. For spells, I'm not sure. But yeah, basically, be careful when you mill, because you know, you might accidentally mill some of these staples, and then when you need them the most, you don't even have them in your deck anymore. So yeah, that kind of screws you over. But you know, milling has its uses too, which I will be discussing right now. So yeah, basically, just be careful when you mill, because if you mill badly, then you're pretty much screwed for the rest of the duel. Alright, enough of that. On to the positive things about milling your own deck in an X-Saber deck. Basically, the cards you want to mill would be these 3, I believe. Guard Strike, Ragigura, and Fultrol. Now, as we all know, Fultrol is dead in the hand. Like, literally dead. It's like useless in the hand. It's pretty much a dead draw if you draw it. So, unless you have 2 or more X-Sabers on the field, then you're pretty much, you know, good to go. So yeah, basically you really just want to mill these 3 cards, because Fultrol, as I said before, it's a dead draw if you draw it and you don't have the requirements to summon it. Ragigura, you normally won't want to normal summon it, because that's pretty much a waste of a normal summon since it only has 200 attack. And Guard Strike, you can only special summon. Well, you could normal summon it too, but I think it'd be wasting a normal summon. You'd probably rather use that on a full Helm Knight or something. But basically, Guard Strike, you don't want to normal summon it. I mean, it's good in your hand if you have 2 or more X-Sabers in your grave, but if you don't, then it's pretty much a dead draw. So you want these 3 cards to be in your graveyard when you mill using Raikou or Card Trooper. Now, the reason I say this is because of this one key card. Gotham's Emergency Call. As long as you have at least one X-Saber, one face-up X-Saber on the field, you can activate this and bring back 2 X-Sabers from your grave. Now, what I like to do is that, you know, let's say you have, I don't know, let's see, Airbellum, or 2 Airbellums when you use Rescue Cat. Summon Airbellum, and you get Gotham's Emergency Call. You could bring these 2 back, preferably this card in defense, because you don't want it to be vulnerable to attacks. And then, if this card's in your grave, you can use Ragigura's effect to bring this back to your hand, special summon. And you pretty much are good to go with the loop, or you could just sync up for Stardust using Guard Strike and Airbellum. Then you probably still have another Airbellum if you use Rescue Cat, so then you're pretty much good to go. So yeah, that's pretty much the pro of milling your own deck. So yeah, basically you want to have these 3 cards in your grave when you mill your own deck using Raikou and Card Trooper. My bad, not Airbellum, Ragigura. Ragigura, Guard Strike, and Fultrol. You want these 3 to be in your graveyard when you mill using Card Trooper and Raikou. And then of course get Air Bellmouth through Rescue Cat or some other type of special summoning, because you do not want to waste a normal summon on Air Bellum if you have Rescue Cat to summon it anyways. So yeah. And of course Gothams Emergency Call is the one and only key card for X-Sabers to start swarming the field. And you know, Gothams comes into effect. And also just a little side note, I think I need to give a shout out to Dragon Master 8610, because one day I just watched one of his videos and he pointed out that Gothams didn't require any non-tuners. It says one tuner plus one or more Earth monsters, and since pretty much every X-Saber is an Earth monster, you can actually use X-Saber tuners for the requirement for this. I didn't really notice that until he mentioned it in his video. So shout out to him. Link will be in the sidebar. He's actually got a pretty good amount of subs already. So yeah. And of course, your emergency card would be Pot of Avarice, because you know, if you mill, if the majority of cards you mill are monsters, then this is like awesome. But if you mill this card along with your monsters, then it pretty much ruins the whole point. So yeah. Basically just when you mill, like depending on your luck, if you mill the majority of monsters and you draw Pot of Avarice, chances are you're going to have 5 or more monsters in your grave, so you just refill your hand, recycle your monsters, etc. And yeah, but just make sure you used Gothams Emergency Call before you use Pot of Avarice, because you know, if you use Pot of Avarice before Gothams Emergency Call, chances are you probably won't have any X-Sabers in your grave. So Gothams Emergency Call would become a dead draw or a dead card on the field. So yeah. Whoops. Alright, so that's basically it for this segment / episode 3. Just talking about the pros and cons about milling your own deck. So yeah, and especially if you're trying to play Saber Swarm, which probably no one's going to since they limited charge of Light Brigades. So yeah. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, this segment, Perfecting The X-Sabers, episode / segment number 3. Hopefully I'll have another one next week. And sorry if this video is too long. I just ramble on and on and on. I should pretty much stop right now. So yeah. Yeah, so rate, comment, subscribe, and go sub to Dragon Master 8610 for that awesome point out there with Gothams. So thanks for that. I didn't really notice it until you mentioned it. So yeah. And yeah, that's all for now. Curio Modified 6 out. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and also try and follow me on Twitter or my blogspot. I'll have links to both, I guess, in my description sidebar thing. So yeah, alright. That's all for now. Later, YouTube. Peace.